Let us move to the next problem, which is the employee bonus. What is the input table here? So the input table here contains the very first column, we have the employee ID, the second column we have the name, the third column we have the supervisor name and the salary of the employee, and we also have a bonus table here, the employee ID and the bonus amount of bonus which the employee got. Let us see what do we want into the output. So write a solution to report the name and bonus amount of each employee with a bonus less than 1000. So we want to get the details of the employees who have got bonus amount less than 1000. So into the output you can see we have Brad, we have John, we have Dan. So Dan has got 500 bonus amount, which is less than 1000, and I think Brad and John did not get any bonus because Brad and John, the employee ID is 3 and 1, and you can see in the bonus table we don't have their data. So we will do a left join. We basically want to get all the employees information from the employee table, and let us name this as a, we will do a left join basically of the bonus table here B, because we want to get all the entries from the employee table. We are not concerned if the employee has got a bonus or not. We want to get those information as well. For example, Brad and John did not get any bonus. We have the information, and we also want to get the information of the employees who have got the bonus less than $1000 or 1000 rupees. So we will do a left join, and onto which column we will do a left join. So we'll do a left join onto the basis of the employee ID column. So here, one more thing, we want to know what are the columns we want into the output. So the columns which we want into the output is the name and the bonus. And let us get the bonus amount from the column B. So after we have joined both of these tables, we will apply one more condition, which is where bonus amount should be less than 1000 v dot bonus specifically. And there's, okay, let us just run this statement. Let us see what is the output we are getting. Basically the output will be wrong, but I just want to show what is the output we are getting and what we are actually doing wrong. So here you can see we are just getting Dan, while into the output we should get Brad and John as well. So we will apply one more condition, or, and we'll apply condition B dot bonus is null. So two conditions we need here to solve the problem we are getting. So let us run the code. Let us execute the code and see if it passes all the test cases. So it has passed the case as 1. Let us see if it passes all the test cases or not. So our test case has been accepted, and I think this is the best optimized solution of all the codes which we have solved today. Let us move to the next question. Next question is students and examinations. So here we have, okay, we have 3 tables, and we have the students table, the student ID and the student name. A subject table, we just have the subject's name and the student ID and the subject name. So student ID is 1 is sitting for subject name as 1 math, and student ID is 1 has subject name physics. Okay, let us see what is the thing which we wanted to the output. So we need to write a solution to find the number of times each student attended each exam. So basically each student attended each exam. For example, student ID is 1, name is Alice, subject math, the number of times it was attended was 3 times. Similarly, student ID has 2, name is Bob, subject physics, he has attended 0 times. So this is the information we want to get from this particular question. Now here one thing to notice is, you can see we are getting zeros as well. Basically we want to get entire information whether the student is attending that particular subject or not. we want to get for each student, for each of the subject, we want to get the answer basically. So the very first thing which we will be doing is, for each of the student name, across each of the student name, we want to get each of the subject name as well. For example, here you can see, I'll just move to the Excel sheet to help you explain this question. We'll move to a new sheet. Let us paste the data. And here, for example, you can see across student name is Alice. We want all the subjects, maths, physics, and programming, all the subjects we want. So we'll just put this here. Similarly, across for student name as Bob, we want all the subjects. Similarly, student name as John, we want to get all the subject names. So this, first of all, we'll be creating similar kind of view which you can see. Obviously, into all of these entries, we will have the student's name. So how do we achieve this kind of output? So this is the student name and this is the subject. Irrespective of whether the student has attended the subject or not, we don't care. We want to get across each of the student name for each of the subject the number of times it has been attended. For example, Alice would not take any maths exam, but so in that case we will have here a 0, irrespective of whether Alice has attended a math subject or not. So how do we arrive at this particular output? So we arrive at this output basically by doing a cross join. So into cross join, we don't care onto which column we are joining both the tables. We will be joining, so each row into table 1 will be joined with each row into the table 2, and that is how cross join works. So friends, first of all, we'll write a query to do a cross join here. Select of students, let us name as A. We will join this with subjects. Let us name this as B. Now, after we have did cross join of both of these tables, we will also want to get the information onto the examinations. So we will do a left join here. So the output until now, the output which we have got is only this much: name of the student and the subject across each of the subject we have got. Now we want to know whether the student has attended this subject or not. So to get this information, we'll be using the examinations table here. So onto the student ID, you can see, and the subject name, we'll be using the subject name and the student ID to join with the output here, which you can see. We'll do a left join examination C on. So here we'll be using the conditions to join both of these tables onto name as well as subject name dot student ID is equal to C dot student ID. One more condition will apply here, which is A B dot subject name should be equal to C dot subject name. These are basically the operations which we have done. Let us see what is the columns which we want to get into the output. First column is the student ID. So student ID is present into the very first table. So we'll just write here A dot student ID. The second column is the student name. So student name is present into the very first table only. The third column we want is the subject name, which is present into the last table which we used for joining. I'll just write here subject name. Last, we will be doing a count of total number of attended exams, which you can see. So how do we get the count? So we get the count of the total number of subjects, which is nothing but from the last table we'll be do a C dot subject name. So you can see we have used aggregated functions, which is the count. So we will need to use a group by functions to counter this count or use this count function. And at last you can see return the result table ordered by student ID and the subject name. So we will be using the order by function to order the output on terms of student ID and subject name. So you can see the solution has been accepted. Let us submit the code and let us see if it passes all the test cases. So we have submitted the solution and it has passed all the test cases. To the next problem, managers with at least 5 direct reports. So let's see the table. We have our input table of employee. On the first column, we have the ID of the employee, name of the employee, the department name, and the manager ID. Basically, we want to get the detail of the manager who has at least 5 direct reportees. We'll write select manager ID from employee table. The number of employees under each of the managers. So I'll just write here count of name to a count of manager ID only. Basically, I just want to know how many times the manager ID is coming in the manager ID column. For example, 101, it is coming 5 times, so it has 5 employees under him. For example, John manager ID, the employee ID is 101 and he is manager of all of these employees. So I basically want to count the number of times manager ID is coming, so from employees. And how do we count? Using group by function. So we'll be grouping by onto the basis of manager ID. Now what do we want? We want to get all the managers who have at least 5 employees under them. So here, after aggregates, let's say the aggregates which have been created, for example 101, for 101 will have total count as 5. So these are basically the aggregates. From the aggregates, we want to filter out all the managers who have at least 5 employees. So here we will write having count of manager ID greater than equal to 5. Let's run the code and let's see what is the output we are getting first of all, and according to the output we'll see how should we proceed further. So the output which I am getting is 101 and 5 managers under the manager ID as 101. So the expected output here is we want to get the name of the manager. Basically 101 is the manager ID and the employee ID 101, the name is John. So we basically want to get the name of the manager here. So here we'll do one thing. First of all, we have got all the managers basically who have at least 5 employees. We'll put this into a subquery and we will do a inner join with the existing table to get the manager's name. So here we'll write select dot name from employee. We'll do a inner join this table B. We'll write this as A join B. On which column do we want to join? So we want to basically join onto the basis of the column which is the manager ID. So I'll just write here A dot ID is equal to B dot manager ID. Let us execute the code and let's see the output. So you can see the code has been accepted and we'll submit the code here as well. And our solution is also accepted, but it is, I think, the worst of it is at the last. So we need to optimize this solution. Let's move to the next question here, which is on the confirmation rate. So here we have input table, basically 2 input table. One is of the user ID and the timestamp. This is basically when the user has signed up on a particular platform. And the confirmation table, here we have the user ID, the timestamp on which the action has taken place. So the action is basically timeout or confirmed. And you can see user ID as 3. He has been timed out. He or she has been timed out at 2 different timestamps. So we have a confirmation rate table as well. What is the output we want? So the confirmation rate of a user is the number of confirmed messages divided by the total number of request confirmation messages. The confirmation rate of a user that did not request any confirmation message is 0, and we need to round off to 2 decimal places. So basically we want to get the total number of times the user came to our platform and the total number of times the user got confirmed. So basically the formula will be something like total confirmed time, and this will be divided by total number of visiting time. So the rate which you can see here, confirmation rate, the formula is this. We somehow have to arrive to both of these numbers which you can see. We need to arrive at the total number of confirmed time as well as total number of visiting time here. Let us see how should we go about solving this problem. From signups, we'll call it this as a, we'll do a left join. Why do we are doing a left join? Because for example, you can see user ID is 6. There is no data for user ID as 6 into the confirmation table, but into the output we definitely want the data for each of the users. So in left join we'll try to get all the data from the leftmost table and all the matching data from the other table. So here we are doing a left join. Signups, basically all the signups, will do a left join for all the confirmations be on a dot user id is equal to b dot user id. It's all about the joining condition. We want two data. So here we will use the group by function to count the number of times the user ID is coming. So the number of times the user ID is coming in the confirmation table, that means the user has visited those number of times. So we'll use a count of a dot user ID. Now here we want all the confirmed cases. We don't want to get the timed out cases. So here we'll be using a case when statement. How does this work? It will work something like, I'll just go to my Excel sheet once again to help you explain this. So I'll just paste this data. So across all of these rows, in whichever row confirmed is present, we will count only those rows, or we'll just put a 1 across all of those rows, and in the rows we don't have a confirmed, we'll put a 0. So here you can see we'll apply a case when statement to do a similar thing. So we'll do a count of case when action is equal to confirmed, then we'll be counting the user ID, otherwise nothing, and end, and this will be basically the total number of confirmed cases. Let us move back to the formula which we saw. So the formula is total number of times the user was confirmed divided by total number of visiting time. So this is the total number of confirmed time. We will divide this by the total number of visiting time, and also we will have to round off to how many decimal places. We need to round this off to 2 decimal places. So they will put this here, and we'll use a round function here as well. So we have got a user ID. This question is going long, I know, but just hang upon, we'll arrive at a very optimized solution for sure. So this is a user ID. We have used the round function, and we have done a group by as well onto the user ID. I'll just write here user ID. So let us change the name of the column and return the results table in any order. So irrespective of the order, we can return the result. We'll change the name of the column. Let us run the statement. Let us see if we're getting the right output or not. So we'll try to run this. Friends, the very first test case has been accepted. Let us run the other cases as well, and obviously we have arrived at a optimized solution from most of the other solutions which are present, and it beats 80% of the users. This was an interesting problem, I would say. Let's move to the next problem. Not boring movies. So we have input table ID, movie name, what was the movie about, the description, the genre, and the rating of the movie. And in the output we have something. Let's see what do we get into the output. So we need to write a solution to report the movies with an odd number ID and a description that is not boring. So I have written the query from before. You can see we just need to mention the conditions they have mentioned, which is the movie ID should be an odd number. So odd numbers are basically the numbers which are not divisible by 2. So I have just written here ID should not be divisible by 2, and the description that is not boring. So here we have mentioned another condition where a description is not equal to boring. Return the result table order by rating, and here we have ordered our result onto the rating. So let us submit the code and see if it passes all the test cases. And this solution is accepted.